Never underestimate the power of the farmers and craftsmen that populate our lands. Humble they may be, but when working in harmony, they can be sharpened into a deadly weapon.
Is that by any chance a Cathay quote? Is
It
that what
certainly
we're
is,
looking
sir.
here? I
The
see. I see. That does make
farmers
sense.
and craftsmen are coming, Ed. They're going to be
I
better than Jade Warriors with no armor or shield.
maybe. I think not. But we'll talk about the new models soon.
They will be
Soon,
cheap.
soon, soon. Yes, they will be cheap, but lacking a shield by the looks of things. So that might stymie their ability to be super useful. We are back, episode 40. Was it 42? Not too shabby there. We're racking
50
them
is
up.
approaching.
50 is approaching. 52, I guess, is the 2 year mark because we've been doing this bi-weekly, fortnightly. That's the word I was looking for.
That's the one.
Fortnightly. Yeah, so that's coming up sooner rather than later. Good to see you, Amy, Stack as well, and Martin. Evening all, sacked off training tonight, so beers in close order. Happy days. Excellent stuff. That's a much more, much better way to spend your evening, in my opinion. If you're here and you haven't already, give the stream a thumbs up, please, and also thank you. It does help get picked up by the algorithm, yada yada yada. All of the usual things that I say. And yeah, we're here to talk about some Warhammer. I think you wanted to
Let's do
start
it.
off with a little bit of a hobby update. Is that right?
Indeed, yes. And what should we start with? Let's start with World Championships. That may have
All right.
been a thing that happened at the weekend. It's not a thing that happened if you play Old World, but a
Sure.
thing that actually happened in the wider Warhammer universe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was very happy to have one player representing the Saffron Slam at the World Championships. Jamie of 6++ fame joined us in the World Championships, and he won his golden ticket from the Saffron Slam this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a Saffron Slam, I'm not a very particularly serious or heavily competitive event. I gave my waiting on my golden ticket to someone who had the most sporting votes rather than necessarily the most wins, although Jamie is a very good player. And over the course of the 3 events that qualified, Jamie actually managed to get 13 out of 15 most sporting opponent votes. Now, that's quite hard to do because I only give people 1 vote, so you only get one chance to vote over the course of a weekend. So over the course of 3 events, 3 weekends, 13 out of 15 of his opponents thought that his game that he played with them was the best game they had that weekend. So he won the golden ticket by a country mile, and did a really incredible job of representing the Saffron Slam this weekend. I think Jamie's the sort of person that does sort of represent probably the best the hobby can be in terms of how to play the game, how to interact with your opponents, how to be a really positive member of the community. So couldn't be more proud to see him representing us. And I'm really hoping, Ed, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if there's any rumours or suggestions that it might happen, but it'd be really, really cool if we could have an old world golden ticket system for a World Championships next year. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Well, I was actually having a whinge because the concept of golden tickets is cool, and I don't want to rain on the parade of everyone who went, but
Yeah,
it's an event in America, um, and they don't, you know, you get a free entry to an event, but that doesn't cover travel, accommodation, all of the costs associated. So it's definitely not something that I'd be necessarily looking to go for. I think if they want to do this sort of system, I'd like to see more support. But the problem
yeah.
is, like, how do you say, oh, we're going to have this huge tournament, we're going to pay for
Pay
X
for
amount
everyone's
of people
flights.
to fly over, but also if you half the volume of me, but far away. Hold on, let me shift that in and then also tweak it on the back end here. Sorry about that. I've got a new microphone set up and I did test it beforehand, but apparently it maybe wasn't close
For
enough.
once, I'm louder. That's very exciting. I can have my voice heard for once in this. Definitely not
Nice.
a democracy.
My
Um,
volume needs a boost. I've just shifted it in. How's that sound? Doesn't sound like it's using it. Better audio than the Ghost Workshop radio. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair. Let's have a look here. Turn the gain up even more. Uh, I'm not quite. I'm just far away. Hold on. Let me just double check. Wouldn't it
is
be
it coming
really
from the
funny
right
if it
Didn't
mic?
come through the right microphone, yeah. How about that? How does that sound now? I might have just got very loud for people.
I didn't hear a change, but then I am looking
No,
at the
you're in
system
a different
and
system.
we're all good.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually move this back a little bit because I think I might be too loud. Loud, but better. Yep. Okay. So microphone's going to go there. And let me just...
How does this happen?
Test.
Don't change any settings in between these podcasts.
No. This one time I have actually, as you can see, there's now a microphone literally hanging from the side of my camera there.
You're smothering me, Ed. You're louder than me again.
It's what the people want.
Yeah, I think.
Now the people might refer to me in plural, but you know.
On World Championships, what I did hear from our latest call with Games Workshop is that they do plan in the near future to move it around the world so that it won't necessarily always be in Atlanta. So, and I believe their first location that they would like to shift the whole event to is Europe. I haven't got a word on when that might be, whether it's next year or the year after or something like that. But I believe in the near future, they are thinking about relocating it so that it can be more accessible for different people.
How about literally the country that has, made Warhammer? How about we have it there for once,
Yes, let's do it. We'll do it in Saffron Walden.
Well, if we're going to pick one of our hometowns, I'm really sorry, buddy, but I think Nottingham might win out. I don't think you're going to win that one, unfortunately.
People would get to the train station and go, where is it? Well, I have to walk half an hour from a train station to get to this venue. This is mad.
Yeah, I think Birmingham would be better. If they're going centrally in England, Birmingham is actually on train lines, whereas Nottingham is a nightmare to get to. So, yeah, Birmingham or they could even do London if they wanted to. That is, unfortunately, we're a very London-centric country.
Exactly. And I think there's a few in the chat saying it should be Warhammer World, but I think probably not
small.
Big enough.
Yeah,
too small. It looks like it's looking at the venue from what I've seen. We had also from 6++ had Dave go to do the narrative event, and he was in like a whole separate hall with like cool narrative setups and people dressed up as Space Marines and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't necessarily know that I've never been, but I don't think until you've been, you necessarily understand the scale of what they're putting on.
Sure.
It's quite insane. And at the moment, they're very much like the vast majority of players are Americans in terms of winners of golden tickets and things like that. And that makes sense because that's the easiest people to get there. So it will be nice to move it around the world and have
not to be clear, because the majority of Warhammer players are American, but because they've given more tickets to Americans. Which, there's a whole fucking rant in here about how they've shopped out their events team to America and then massively shit the bed. If anyone who doesn't know, what they did was they moved their events team to America. Then they had a big event. Was it like Warhammer Day or something like that in Manchester? Which went horrendously wrong. Loads went wrong. And that was run by the Manchester team. And then the people who worked in this country got fired for the failings, as I have been told, and I only get this second hand, but the failings of the international team led to the loss of jobs of the actual UK events team, who then, I believe, a lot of them got hired back to work as the Warhammer World events team. Right. But, I don't know, the way that they fucking run events drives me nuts. There's it's very poorly run, in my opinion. So... Anyway, I will rant about this for too long, so maybe we'll move on. Anything else you wanted to say about it?
Yeah, well, my impression of the World Championships this year was that it was very well run. So
good.
I guess we'll see. I suppose. But you're right. I mean, team based in America is it's no mean feat to organise an event of that size. I know how much work it takes to organise an event of like 50 people, but to organise an event where there's thousands of people showing up, multiple different rooms, different settings, setting up different events of different game systems and running narrative stuff alongside competitive stuff, having all like that, it's a massive operation. And I guess if you're doing that transatlantic with an 8-hour time difference, that's just really inconvenient. But perhaps the sound quality on the stream suggests otherwise.
Yeah, so let's rag on them from a bit there. I'm normally relatively positive, but I've spent At what time did I start working? 9 to late. So I spent most of the last 11 hours working, so I'm slightly less positive than normal. So let's use this as an opportunity to be like, what the fuck was going on with the reveal stream? And now, don't get me wrong, literally had audio issues here, but that is, it was a very unfortunate launch. And I actively decided not to stay up and watch it. But then, it's like Christmas. So I was in bed trying to get to sleep, and I was like, I can't get to sleep. Let me just chuck the stream on. Let me see if they've put the Cathay stuff on. And some really, really awful audio issues and a very, very long pause that you wouldn't know if you didn't watch it live. Because they did do is they cut the pause out of the stream video, I believe, which, that's just good practice. I'm not dunking on them for that. But as someone who tried to tune in, even though I had decided I was going to go to bed instead, I definitely was impressed by the scale of the tech issues that we're having. It's
the whole thing just shit in the bread.
Yeah, and I have tech issues here, so I get it, but also the scale of the organizations.
The operations different.
Yeah. It's a little bit different, but they did it. They did the stream. I feel bad for the people who had to be on it. It's not their fault. It's obviously some tech issues behind the scenes. I don't even really blame the people who are doing the tech stuff, tech shit. But yeah, and then they put out a whole load of stuff. Would you say there was more or less stuff for Old World than you were expecting?
Probably a little bit less.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I think obviously as someone that's collecting Cathay, I'm very excited about all this stuff. I think the new models are amazing. We'll come to that in a minute. But it feels like last year, and this could just be sort of misremembering things, but it feels like last year we had sort of multiple factions, multiple reveals.
There was literally a timeline that they gave us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's strange because obviously they've done just a random Wednesday afternoon released all the Chaos Marauder stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like they could have just waited a week or 2 weeks and done a joint Cathay Marauders reveal. And obviously the Marauder stuff got a huge amount of hype anyway, so you could probably suggest it was successful marketing in some respects, in that people got very excited about it. But it's kind of like they could have just put it all into one, could they not? And just had a massive multiple faction release that we could all get different sort of groups of players could get excited about, because unless you're a Cathay player, there was nothing for Old World really for you to get excited about.
True.
And I mean, you could be happy there's cool models coming, and it shows that they're supporting the system and things like that, and that's all really, really great. But it did kind of feel a little bit like this is what we've got. Enjoy.
Yeah.
When actually they had stuff with the Marauders there that they could have made it feel a little bit more fleshed out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I also was expecting more. I'd have liked to have seen some hints or reveals of hey, we're going to do some more Arcane Journals. Maybe you should be excited about, I don't know, Wood Elves and Beastmen coming together in one. Something like that would be cool. Maybe not those two, because those were the two most recent factions that got one outside of Cathay. But something like that would have been nice. But I guess before we go on to that, let's do actual hobby roundup. Let's look at the stuff that you did that I definitely didn't flick up on screen earlier, because I hadn't realised the order we were doing things in. So you have been painting, like some sort of painter.
Some sort of hobbying going on. I mean,
some sort of nerd with a paintbrush, doing good work with really nice looking models. Loser. Couldn't be me.
Says the man who makes a living talking about toy soldiers. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll move on. I'd have thought,
but yes, another rank of Jade Warriors are complete. So that takes me to a grand total of 10 Jade Warriors now done, and the Fire Rain rocket battery. So we're getting there slowly but surely. In about 2029, I think I'll have an army that could be fielded on the table.
And by that point, Cathay will have been fixed, broken, fixed again, and then broken for the third time.
And then turned into a legacy faction. I have, as you can see, I finished off my command. I did the champion in the first batch. I did, and I wanted to do the musician and the banner.
Yeah.
And I wanted to freehand the banner this time instead of use one of the transfers. I think transfers look amazing, but because this is very much thanks, Amy. very much a army
Those are
that I want to
gorgeous,
take some
Lewis.
time over. I really want to try and do the best I can do in some respects. I mean, I know these are just infantry models, but to really try and push myself a little bit, that freehand stuff is something that I want to do a little bit more of. So I've done, as you can see on the banner, two Chinese characters on there, which assuming Google Translate hasn't accidentally written like piss off or something in Chinese on this banner for me, it should say yellow sky or yellow heaven is another sort of translation of it. And it's when I kind of started doing Cathay, the kind of color scheme is based off some artists' interpretation of the sort of color scheme worn by the members of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, which is a sort of a peasants rebellion back in like 184 or something, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, it's in the games Dynasty Warriors. If anyone's played Dynasty Warriors, my brother and I used to just mash square for many hours at weekends when we were younger. And Yellow Turban Rebellion was the sort of the first Yellow Snow, the first battle used to fight in that game. So that's what the whole kind of army's based off. And they had Yellow Heaven as sort of one of their, or Yellow Sky as one of their sort of symbols and symbology of their own flags and banners. So I am hoping that's what it says. I believe that's what it says. I've done enough research that I'm hoping it says Yellow Sky, and I'm really sorry if I've written something really offensive in Chinese, but I'm hoping it's right.
First of all, everyone in chat is saying that you've done something wrong, but they all have different opinions on why. For example, my favorite, Ed, saying, "Why have you written number 57 Peking duck?" Which is the is the classic. I got a Chinese tattoo, but it was actually just some sort of Chinese takeaway order. Yeah, because of accident. But the other thing is you said it was called Yellow Heaven. Is that right?
So Yellow Sky, I think,
Yellow Sky
is the sort of most literal translation, but I think in a language that has like inflection and other stuff on it, I'm not an expert, but I think it can also mean Yellow Heaven.
Sure.
Or there's a suggestion it's like Azure Sky and stuff like that as well. So there's a few different interpretations of it, but it's roughly there or thereabouts what the Yellow Turban Rebellion.
I just want to make a suggestion that you give this unit the icon of Heavenly Fury. I think that would be very fitting.
Well, the problem I've got as well is I want different banners on each unit. So I want my Lancers and my other units of Jade Warriors to have banners as well. So I'm going to have to do a bit more deep diving as to the various symbols this rebellion used, and hope that they have at least 3 or 4 different symbols, so I'm not painting the same thing on multiple banners.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I guess, yeah. I'm looking at the names of the magic banners. I'm struggling to see lots of other ones that would translate super well, but maybe you can do some brainstorming looking at that.
One person in the chat, Hams fan, saying they look great. Thank you. It's nice to be validated.
The one positive Close Order fan. Everyone else is in here like, yeah. No, that's not true. Thank you, Amy, for your super chat and your general positive attitude. You're appreciated. You and Hams fan are great. There's a couple of other people in there that I don't want to malign, but
I'm fishing for compliments now.
Yeah, 90% of you commenting are the reason that I am losing sleep. Yes. Sam says, can we get this man a tea? Yeah, come on, Lewis. Where's my tea? Disgraceful behaviour. I
brought you tea. I spent a whole weekend bringing you tea.
It was amazing, and I don't see why you stopped.
Distance has made the heart grow fonder, but the tea grow cold.
I don't know. I'm not feeling pretty fond of you. Where's my fucking tea? Yes, cool. So really nice models.
Thank you very much.
I resent saying it, but they look pretty good. So that's all good there. Yeah.
I'm working on the Sentinel next because I want to do something a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm already starting to realise what people are saying about building these things being an absolute bastard, because 1 foot has like 12 different pieces. And I'm like, this is wholly unnecessary. You could just mould a foot. I could stick that onto a leg. I don't need to put 24 different bits of plastic together to make a foot.
But what if you wanted You know, I've just had a thought. Let's stop talking about feet and move on immediately. Given the
Oh no!
given the rumors about you already, we're just gonna pretend this didn't happen. I'll cut this section out of the VOD, and we'll. I won't do that, but we will.
Let's go onto your stream. Go onto your streaming of the event. Quick! We streamed Saffron Slamhead. It was amazing.
We did stream Saffron Slam. It was good. I think I vaguely talked about it, but let's do the quick recap. So this was the first event that I've ever done live coverage for myself. So I have done stream commentary on someone else's stream. I've done it with Mikey, Hellstorm Wargaming. It must be about 3 years ago now. And that was where I met Nick, who was one of the players who not only was at your event, but because he was doing every other game, because he has a condition that makes it very hard for him to play too much Warhammer, basically. He sat in for game 4, and we just sat and did basically a Warhammer podcast over the streamed games. So going in, I had thought I'd done a lot of prep. I'd sent 1 million parcels to Lewis's house, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. Thank you so much, Flo, for actively bringing those in instead of just being just leaving them outside, which is probably what I deserve. And
we don't have. You see my living room, Ed. Obviously, we don't have a particularly big house.
No,
it's quite an expensive area, so I don't earn enough for a massive house. And Flo works from home, so
yes.
Just the living room over the course of the week before the event was just becoming smaller and smaller and smaller as parcels from floor to ceiling, like were just getting stacked up over the course of the week.
Yeah,
she was like, I don't know where to put it all now.
And the one thing that arrived that was actually for her that you thought was for me, and then we had to tell lies about.
We have had to lie.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll be listening. If I'm being completely honest, I'm sure she loves me greatly, but she would not be 22 minutes into a Warhammer stream.
No, that seems unlikely. Although she did drop in at one point on the Saturday and
just
said hi.
Me.
Well, yeah, and I defended your tea making abilities. She says you don't make good tea, and I said I've learned. I just ask you to leave the bag in, and then I can just because I like a really strong tea. So I wanted.
I don't know at what point in our relationship / marriage we got to a point where she just stopped asking me to make her tea, and then at some point I just stopped offering because she was just like, I don't like how you make tea, and I'm just going to make it myself. And I think that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing in a relationship. I'm going to say that's healthy.
Yeah, it's important to be honest with each other, but it's more important to be able to make good fucking tea. So, I'll get you a Groupon for a tea making course or something next time you have a birthday. Oh, speaking of, you had a birthday recently, and I missed it. So happy birthday! Congratulations! Another year closer to the grave.
one step closer to the bus pass. Here we go.
That's true. So that'd be nice. Because I feel like in your neck of the woods, you kind of have to be able to, use some sort of transport to get anywhere. It's all pretty far removed, which leads in nicely to the story I'm going to tell, which is trying to set up. Now, anyone who's ever run at an event, Warhammer World staff can empathise with me, and I will empathise with you, because things do go wrong. The first thing that went wrong is I forgot to bring my plug into my PC, as in the kettle connector, as they're often called, the bit that you plug from the wall to your PC. So I forgot that cable. Fortunately, they all use the same one. You shouldn't really swap them between computers, but for short term, I was like, screw it, it'll be fine. And I just borrowed Lewis's. You went to Tesco's to get some bits, you went back to your house to get the cable, and then I was able to start setting up. Thank you for doing that. So I'm sat there trying to set up, and we've got everything sort of in position. We've done some jiggery pokery. You've said, that can't go there. It's a fire hazard. So I was like, all right, we've got to rejig things around. Oh, that's very reasonable, so people don't die. Sure. So we get set up, and it's all going okay, apart from the fact that the camera that we're using for the top down isn't working. And then I realise, I normally plug it in with the USB cable, but I need the USB cable to charge it, so I'm using a HDMI cable. Fuck, I didn't realise I needed a capture card. Yeah. Shame, I've got a capture card here in Nottingham that I didn't bring with me. Okay, do a little bit of Googling. Fuck. The closest one that we can get to, nowhere's open right now. Saffron Walden is not somewhere with tech stores. The closest one we can get to...
9 p.m.
Yeah, the tech store's open at 9. It was like, what? Oh, yes, yeah. And also the tech stores are tiny. They're mobile phone stores. They're not like PC stores. So we do some Googling, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to spend 200 quid at Argos, and also Argos only opens at 9 a.m. And also, it's like a 30-minute Or like it was like a 20-minute drive away or something like that. So it was like, this is not ideal, but okay, this is the situation. So I ordered that. Fortunately, when we got back to yours, realised that there was a capture card upstairs. Amazing, great, cool, love that. So we borrowed that from Flo's work computer. Get to set up in the morning, 7 o'clock. It's not working. Okay, great. Don't know what the issue is. I basically nail it down to the capture card. Spend 2 hours getting more and more frustrated trying to get everything working, to the point where I was ready to go home, frankly. I was thinking, like, I was like, because if I can't get it, like, done, and it's that we haven't even had the first game of the event, do I just say, like, screw it, get a train home and be like, hey, Steve, can you drop off my PC? This was the level of frustrated I was, so I was having a good time.
Very angry, and we left you alone to be angry in a little cupboard.
Well, so people kept popping in their head to say hi, which is absolutely fine. But I was in the midst of being like, I need to fucking make this work. So I think everyone who looked in and saw me was just like, I'm just going to talk to him later. Because just sort of staring at the screen with dead eyes, trying to make everything work. So about
children listening, there were some bad words coming out of the cupboard.
No, it wasn't. I don't sit and swear at things. I was quietly furious. Let's be accurate about the story. I wasn't sat there swearing. I was just fucking fuming. The loud fury comes now. That when I'm sat on my own, I don't sit and swear at things. I just wish that they were not there. Anyway, about 9:15, I give up entirely, and I walk into town, which is a 30-minute walk. And I check the two the two mobile phone stores that have some tech in there, and also the Toy Master, because I was like, they've got an Xbox section. Maybe they have like an Xbox capture card, and Xbox capture cards will work with USB, so that would work for my PC. So I checked the three places that it theoretically could be. No good. Okay, cool. Here's the thing about Saffron Walden. It's tiny. It is a historic market town. It does not have a lot of stuff in, and it also doesn't have a train station. So, it's like...
The train station's a half-an-hour walk.
No, it doesn't have a train station. A different village has a train station, to be very clear. It's called Audley End. It's not anything to do with Saffron Walden.
Its official name is Audley End for Saffron Walden.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nowhere fucking near. It's the it's the short version. So, doing that, getting, by this point, mood is very poor. I'm not having a good time. The weather's nice. I'm having a nice walk, but I'm like, okay. So I'm sat down just on the side, like on a path. I'm sat there and I book an Uber to get me from Saffron Walden to Audley End train station, which then the Uber takes 25 minutes to reach me. But I was like, sure, whatever. I'm not walking again. I'm just going to sit here and wait and just deep breath, practice my mindfulness. Get the Uber to the train station. And at the train station, there is a train from Audley End to Cambridge at that time of day, which is about 10, every 30 minutes. So I'm waiting at the train station for 27 minutes for my train.
I reckon if you hadn't waited for that Uber and you'd have just walked to the station, you'd have got there faster.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, so I'm sat there. Mood has taken another dip. I am not happy at all. My phone is running out of charge, so I'm if you're waiting somewhere, you can just read stuff on your phone and it's fine, or build lists or whatever. I'm trying to conserve battery power because I've got like 30% because I forgot to charge it overnight because I'm a muppet. So I'm sat there doing nothing for 27 minutes, which is fine, but I'm just, like, all right, cool, another thing. Get to Cambridge and walk out of the station, and the first thing I see coming out of the station is there's a Wasabi, which is a takeaway sushi spot, and it is my favourite takeaway sushi place, and it is a treat to have because they're only based in London and like 6 other places around the country. I'm like, amazing. I really like wasabi. I had no idea I was going to be able to have that for lunch. Cool, that's good. I walk a little bit further. I see some renter bikes, the electric bikes that you can get. I'm like, I love a good cycle around. The weather's nice. This will be good. I got to pull out my phone. I already have the app installed because when I was in Liverpool for my brother's stag do, 6 months earlier, I downloaded the app to try and use the renter scooters, but I didn't have my ID with me because I just passed my driving test, so I wasn't able to do it. Turns out, to rent a bike, you don't need your license or anything, so I was already set up and ready to go. I just had to scan it, and I was like, cool. So, scan the bike. I go off on a little cycle for 15 minutes. I don't look at a map. I look at the map for where I need to go to get to CEX, where I've done a little bit of looking around before I set off, and in CEX there is one capture card for £32. I'm like, amazing, I'm going to go get that. So I get to Cambridge, I had a quick look at a map, I then put my phone away, and I navigate 90% of the way to CEX just through, like, direction. I'm like, oh, this is in no way impressive, but I feel good about myself. Mood by this point is right back up there. I'm like, I'm having a great time. I walk into CEX. I'm saying, yeah, I need the capture card. They're like, oh, what are you using it for? Well, I'm meant to be streaming an event that started 2 hours ago, but at this point, completely unbothered. So, I'm feeling good. And they're like,
is this a long to a Cambridge GT announcement?
No, thank you, Matt. So I get there, I get the graphics card, I cycle back to the train station, I get my wasabi for lunch, I get on the train, which is 15 minutes early, it's just sat there waiting. I'm like, cool, I just get to sit in a comfy seat. By the time,
Hang on, whoa, let me just stop. This was all feeling quite believable up to the point where you said a train.
It started in Cambridge, I believe.
15 minutes early.
Yeah, it started in Cambridge, so it was just the first stop. They opened the doors 15, 20 minutes beforehand, so it's not like it was there from a different station. So we sat there, I'm sat there having my lunch, food, great, love it, sushi, amazing. Then the train goes, I get back to Audley End, I send you a message and you're like, oh, I'll get Ginger Steve to pick you up. I'm like, oh, amazing. I don't even need to get another Uber. So I'm like, sweet, yeah, that'd be great, thanks. 10 minutes later, I'm in Audley End, is Steve on his way? And you're like, oh, I'll ask him. So you're just offering out lifts for people who, without consulting them. All right, I see how it is. But also, Steve doesn't have his car with him. He's already 2 pints deep, and he taxied to the venue. So I don't get a lift from Ginger Steve, and you're like, oh, I'll ask around. I'm like, don't bother. I've booked an Uber. I'll do it myself. It's fine. Get back, plug in the capture card. Amazing, it works. Just about in time for the start of second round. I then try and get the microphones working. The microphones don't work, for the players. What a pain in the ass. Whatever. I do not have time to care about that. And then we just go in and I do my best over 4 games. And it's good. And I have a good time. There's definitely things I'd like to improve. I've seen a few comments on the video saying, it'd be nice if you had player microphones and yada yada. Everything that people say, I'm 100% aware of, and I absolutely agree with you. I'd love to do a load of improvements, and that's what I'm hoping to do for the next one. But yeah, that's the situation that I found myself in, trying to get the stream set up. So the moral of the story is, I guess it's not so bad, Warhammer community team. It could have been worse. I don't know what went on behind the scenes there. Maybe they had to go to Cambridge from America. That's why it took them so long to get it fixed.
Cambridge, Massachusetts.
yeah, that would do it. Oh.
Well, I mean, I thank you for your efforts, Ed, because it's long been a hobby dream of mine to have one of my events be streamed.
Yeah.
And when Ian piped up saying that he wouldn't mind spotting the funds to get it off the ground, I was over the moon. But obviously then to see it all come together, and I keep looking. I've got the photos on my phone of the little streaming setup with the lights on facing the table and the rig that has your camera on it and the separate bit for the dice and things like that. Just seeing that just fills me with joy. So, and actually the videos have done quite well because lots of people were tuning in. We had like over 100 people watching a couple of points over the course of the weekend, which was like insane.
Saturday did a lot better than Sunday,
which
I think is just like the day that people are more available to watch.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, that's really great. And to get such good feedback as well. And as you say, things you want to do differently next time, but that's really, really exciting. And I mean, the event in general was really positive, I thought. Immaculate vibes, one might say. It was felt really relaxed, which hopefully people agree who were there. Lots of them in the chat now who were there, but it felt very chill. Lots of people who'd never either been to a tournament before or been to a teams tournament in particular. So I think we'll do next time. We'll spend a little bit more time working on like how to do pairings and things like that, because I think there was a couple of captains that weren't quite sure how to do it, but I think we did have just about enough captains who did know what they were doing that they could help everybody else. So people got through it. And I guess we should say congrats to Matt, who's in the chat, for winning Best Army with his which is really nice. We should also say congrats to Nick Boucher for taking home most sporting. Is Skaven. I don't know if him playing Skaven was linked to the fact he got most sporting, but it is a very hard award to win at Saffron. We had 24 players, and I think 17 of them got most sporting votes. So
don't worry, the other 7 were fired out of a cannon and will not be invited back.
Yeah, if you don't get one, you're not allowed back. That would be a really poor business model over time. And I guess we should also say, begrudgingly, congratulations to Close Horse and Ginger Steve's team, as expected, with their horrific lists taking the win. Although they were run pretty close by one of the Saffron Slam teams, the Slam Bam Thank You Ma'am team. They managed to get a draw off them, which meant that the final game they weren't just cruising to victory. They had to play that final game and actually had to really work for it. So it was really, I thought it was really good fun, really good event. So happy to have it streamed. And you're thinking, so the next event that we're doing is on 7th and 8th of February, but back to a singles event for that one. And you think you're going to stream that again, won't you, Ed? That's the plan.
Yeah, so my goal is, and I need to hopefully be able to make this work in terms of lugging like a 20 kilo PC and other streaming pieces. But the goal is to stream all 6 of the Saffron events over the next year and then reassess for 2027 after I've got a good picture of what that actually looks like, give it a good welly. It's the absolute least I can do from Ian and Natalie's incredibly generous donation. So just to say thank you again for, none of this would have been possible without that help. It was incredibly generous.
No, absolutely. And if you'd like to come on the 7th and 8th of February to the Saffron Slam, we do have some tickets available. 2,000 points. Bring your friends, bring your army. Tickets are available at elmominiatures.com, or literally just Google the Saffron Slam and it'll come up. And you could find yourself on stream. We had different reactions to people wanting to be on stream. Some people were like, "Oh God, don't put me on a camera," and other people were like really excited for it and requested to be on stream. So it was a good mix.
And you know what? Let's. I'm just going to rattle off some more thank yous. You did a great job at picking matchups. The only matchup that was a little bit dull on camera because it was undead versus undead. Both teams have been told to get a 10. Was my fault. Because I knew that Nick would have been interested on being on stream, so I said, "Hey, can you get Nick on stream for Game 5?" Which ended up being Tomb Kings versus Vampire Counts.
Sure.
Well, I'd already offered it to him before we knew the pairing, so that was my fault. Thank you to Steve, Callum, and Matthew for the super chat /member renewals. Steve says, "Why is Lewis in his Spider-Man costume? Has he been saving Saffron Walden from crime?" No, just from Cathay because they've been banned. Don't talk. I'm finished. I'm still talking. Callum says, "Don't start talking about train problems." I believe Callum had some fun train issues getting back, which is hilarious and no less than he deserves as a Cathay player. And I think I also should say a huge thank you to Strifey and John Dale, who both jumped in last minute to make up the final team, Matt's team, that was struggling for players. They were down to 2 players at one point on the week before in the run-up. So huge thanks to both of them for filling in. And also, how dare you interrupt me when I'm talking? And a huge thank to Ginger Steve for helping them financially in terms of paying for hotel and I think travel. I don't know all of the details there, but I know he at the very least offered, and I'm sure did actually help out as well. Perfect. So before you can interject on any of the objectionable things I've said, I think we should move on.
We should actually one more shout out for Ginger Steve, just because he's loving it at the moment. I'm sure he did promise in advance of the event that if he went 3-0 on the first day, he would buy everybody dinner. And about 3/4 of the way through his third game, where it looked like he was going to win, he was like, "I'm going to have to buy everyone dinner." I was like, "No one will hold it against you, Steve. If you just say there's 15 of us going out for dinner, I'm not buying you dinner."
Yeah.
But he didn't. He stuck to what he said, and he did take everybody out for dinner, which was very generous of him. Absolutely didn't have to do that, and that was a credit. That was a really good fun evening as well after the Saturday. So
Steve's favourite thing is being thanked genuinely. So if everyone in chat can just say thank you to Ginger Steve, it'll make him really, really comfortable, and he won't hate it at all. In fact, let's do a quick round of applause. Huge thanks to Ginger Steve. Top bloke. Now I'm going to move on. All right, Perfect.
What are we talking about?
So we're going to be talking very quickly about Cathay. But so one of us had an hour's sleep. No, 4 hours sleep. It's self-inflicted. It's okay. Lewis is not dying, which was my concern when he told me that, and I asked him 3 times what was wrong, and then he didn't answer. I was like, oh god, that usually means someone doesn't want to talk about it because it's horrendous. I was like, oh, has the news come back? You've got to allow Cathay at your events to get the golden ticket. Is that what it's going to be? But no,
yeah, that's definitely
it was
like, stop banning things.
Self-inflicted.
We were allowed to ban things, i.e. half the factions in the game.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't mind having a slightly shorter day, because when we hit 9 o'clock, that'll have been about 12 hours straight for my work day, which, is fine. I don't have days like this all the time. And doing this as a job is something I don't want to really complain about, but I wouldn't mind not going forever. So I've already put a video out talking about my thoughts and feelings on this, so I wanted to give Lewis a quick chance to run through and just give me your thoughts on everything. So if we just start off with general vibes, obviously we'll look at the individual stuff. How do you feel about the vibes for the Cathay stuff in general?
Yeah, general vibes are really, really good. I think it's really going to massively expand the options available to Cathay players. I know I'm being very slow at painting, so it's not necessarily affecting me at the moment, but I know lots of people have kind of got their army done, and it's very much like 3 or 4 units, and that's great. You can get some games in, but especially for people playing lots of games, they're probably getting to the point where it's like, I would quite like to do something a little bit different within my Cathay collection, and this obviously massively expands the scope that you've got available to you. I think there's a world now where you can viably, well, maybe not viably because we haven't seen any rules yet, but you can do something completely different to the Jade Warrior balloon, maybe Miao Ying thing, and go down the peasant route, or go down different type of gunline route, or actually go more combat focused with some buffing wizards in there. So I think it really expands the options that you've got across the faction now, which I think with this release, it feels like we now have a properly fleshed out army list options available to us, and it will surprise me now to kind of get to a point where that's it for Cathay for quite a long time, because it feels like they've got most of what they need. I know in Total War there's a lot more options available that you can take, but I think now there's so much different opportunities here that I think that'll keep people happy for a while.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like one unit, maybe a unit and a character when we get whatever second edition Cathay book comes out, because I'm sure there will be not only a second edition, but more rules for Cathay. Really coming in here with the hot takes that people are going to find confusing and surprising. So maybe when we get round to second edition Cathay in 3-4 years, we get like Longma Riders or something like that. That'd be cool. But
yeah.
For now,
they're definitely something that they've got Longma model now, haven't they? So clearly,
true.
Clearly, the sculpt's there.
We have the technology.
We
Hopefully,
have the power.
they do it better than Pegasus Knights and make them not, make them able to stack together. That would be cool. Ian, this is not necessarily focused at you. And apologies that you're caught in my crossfire, but I just looked at chat, and Ian says, bet they'll mount up one of those Astromancers on a snake to really wind me up. You know what Tomb King players need to do? Tomb King players need to stop fucking complaining. You lot have got some of the most, one of the best armies, the best ways to play multiple different, variations of the army, the most rules, the most tournament success, and just the most models as well. If I hear any more words out of Tomb King players, and again, apologies, Ian, it's not specifically you. It's just I've seen a couple of people, not to name any names, and it's it had to be said. Swap it all for a snake. God damn it, Ian.
Get back in your sarcophagus, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right. Before I alienate entire faction player bases, I'm going to move on very quickly to the first model, Astromancers of the Celestial Court. You know what I like about this, before I let you wax lyrical? It's a foot character, and there are spells that buff the model and the unit. So just having that as something that can join a unit that isn't a 400-odd, 500-point dragon, I think is very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say, not a massive fan of the headdresses on the first sort of option. I think the horse is identical in both, so I'm assuming you can just put 2 different guys on.
It looks to me like there might be 3 or 4 heads. I'm not sure if this one down here is the same head on both of these, but it looks like you've got some options at least.
No, absolutely. I say the headdresses don't seem to tie into anything else in the range unless I'm missing something. But that's optional. We don't have to have that, so that's cool. The guy who's got his sword like this and then it's proper like Matrix style. I think that's really cool. That's the one I'm definitely building when I pick these up. For sure from the Astromancers. But as you say, it'd be really cool to fit them into the units. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, obviously, the Crowman, of which,
Oh yes,
is the best part of the kit there, which is I do like just every time they release a wizard, they're like, you know what, have this small man as well. Yeah. What do they do? Nothing. Why are they there? Whimsy. Okay, great. Hell yeah, give me more of that, please. Big fan of that. So Astromancer, big fan, and I like that there's a lot more option. It feels like there's more choice here than you'd get in a normal modern Games Workshop kit. It feels like you've got some actual ability to do different things. Not only is there different heads, which I'd expect, but also different arm setups, which I think is very cool. So big fan of that. Yeah, you're not
going to see just every single Cathay player having exactly the same model, which I think is really nice. Just gives you some variety when you're playing against them as well.
Yeah.
Or if you want multiple Astromancers in your list, then you've got a really easy way of differentiating between them.
Yeah. Next up, we've got the Warplock Giselles. Sorry, Crane Gunners.
They look very much like the new Six of Sigmar guys as well, don't they? With the big shields. But these are my favourite out of the new releases, I think. Nice. They just look really cool. I think it's absolutely necessary that you have 3 scopes on all of your guns. I'm not entirely sure what that's achieving, but I think that's wholly necessary.
Well, I'm assuming it's a case of just factors of magnification. And, in the modern world, we can have multiple layers of magnification inside one compact scope. But this is a time before technology, or after technology, or during technology, depending on which faction you're looking at. So Cathay having, 3 magnifying glasses basically to zoom in on. Sure, that I can see it. This is a gun that's meant to shoot at long range. It also has a little bit of a steampunk tactical vibe that I'm kind of here for.
Yeah. I wonder if the little you got those little circle things on the shields. I'm assuming I don't think they're just symbols, are they? They feel like they could actually like open up or something. So the guy that's like kneeling down in front of the one with the gun, has he got an ability to actually see where he's going, pick the shield up and move it to an appropriate location?
How weird, man. Different be daft. You can't be putting holes in your shield. You'll get shot through it.
Well, that's why they've closed it, and already they can open it.
I think it might just be I think it might just be symbols, and I think if you want to see where you're going, you maybe peer around one side of the shield instead of leaving an exposed hole for your friend who's holding a big gun to be shot behind.
I reckon if you stick your head out behind that thing, you're getting shot immediately. So I think having a little thing where it's a little slit that you can open so you can go and have a look through is a much better idea.
Yeah, although we've got to remember that this isn't the modern day where you've got laser sightings and long-range accurate guns. This is the world of let's hit them with a volley of arrows, and I think a shield's probably quite effective against that, even if you are tempted to poke your head over the parapet and take a shot.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Steck, I swear to God, I'm going to ban you right now. Don't test me. I told you I'm not vindictive enough with you, so I'm going to get vindictive here. Steck is a frequent what's the word I'm looking for? Winder-upper in the VIP chat. For anyone who thinks that might be an out-of-pocket reaction, that was apparently weeks of comments have added up. So I'm.
You're just venting on all of our viewers. There'll be one left soon, and it'll be Amy just because she's too nice.
Yeah. Martin says Jamaican accent. Did you think that was a Jamaican accent, Lewis? Am I just terrible at accents?
I don't think so.
No, it was generic northern. It was more sort of like Yorkshire, like verging into somewhere like between the west and the east north. It wasn't I don't think a particularly well done northern accent, but if you want to express contempt or surprise with someone, generic northern accent number 3 is one to go for. Any ideas on if the kit is a dual kit? Hasser Flavor says probably. That's interesting. So if you do go with the Iron Hail Gunners here, which good point, they are the same legs and the same bodies. Oh, no, they've got different. They look like they might have different. Oh yes, and then there's the kneeling ones there. Ah.
I think they are, because the law is that the front rank will very quickly kneel.
Yeah.
And allow the ones behind to shoot. I don't know why in the image they've put the kneeling one at the back.
No, that is pretty.
He's kneeling because he's tired or something. So potentially you would have all your kneeling ones at the front and ones behind. The only thing that potentially could mean they're in different kits is that they've got different bases. So Games Workshop may box them separately, so they don't have to double up all the bases.
I'm actually looking.
I don't know what sort of cost that is.
I'm looking at like the belts and stuff, and I feel like actually these look like different sculpts to me. Because if you look at the detailing, it's pretty different there. I think they might literally be different kits. But the other thing is, if we just skip ahead, you can see that there's 12 Iron Hail Gunners and 8 Crane Guns, whereas normally the way that they do this is they go, here's a box of one models, here's a box of another models, and that makes sense because there's not really any point in splitting the models out, and it also doesn't say a total of this that could be made into this or this. Yeah, whereas they normally would. So I think they are probably different kits. I don't know how 8 forms into 12. You'd have 4 half bodies left over, which feels pretty odd and inefficient. But yeah, Iron Hail Gunners as well. I will say I don't love the beards on these models. They feel...
I don't know how, because there are some without it. So
yeah,
I'd probably go. I think I agree. I wouldn't do the ones to the full beards. I don't mind the one with the goatees and stuff like that. I think
I agree.
Really cool. But yeah, the full beards do look. They don't quite seem to fit, do they? They just look a bit out of place. But yeah, I like the Iron Hail Guns are cool. I'm not sure I see a role for them. They've got them as flanks, protecting flanks from cavalry, but they also say that they're really short ranged. So I'm not sure that that would quite work, particularly to be in charge range of cavalry before you're in shooting range.
Yeah.
Which does, unless they've got something that allows them to stand and shoot particularly well or something, that they don't mind being charged by cavalry. I'm not entirely sure how they fulfill the role that Games Workshop suggest they should fulfill, but that will be dependent on the rules that come out.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the blunderbuss across all of the models that have it currently, which is Brigands, Chaos Dwarves, there might be another one in there somewhere. Are any of them good? No. So, I'm not really worried about that. But, if they're cheap and cheerful, and you want to use them as this is here to soak first charge, for my big units of Jade Warriors, and the stand and shoot could do something there. I could see that being not terrible. So maybe there's I think it's just the way the game's played at the moment. I don't necessarily see a use for them, but that's fine. Things will change hopefully in January, because
and I don't think they've seen with the rest of the Cathay range, they're not averse to using the new Cathay models to test new rules concepts that other models with more traditional stat lines and more traditionally accepted rules that have access to. So they could throw something buck wild in for these Iron Hail Gunners and give them a set of rules that no one's expecting, that actually makes them very good at doing what they suggest they're trying to do in the article. So I wouldn't rule that out completely.
Sure. Next up, we've got the Peasant Levy, and these are my favourite models personally. The more I look at them, the more they grow on me. I think they look amazing.
Yes, I mean, I'm hoping. I think I prefer the champion that's in the spear unit, but I think I prefer the archers overall. I'm hoping, because they come in boxes of 30. Well, we think they're going to come in boxes of 30. I'm hoping you can just build them all as archers, and I would have them all as archers, I think, rather than chucking the spears in.
Yeah, I think they can probably be all archers, I would assume. Normally that sort of kit comes as you can make them all as one or the other. I'd be very surprised if you can't. But yeah, this is where I think the archers are probably going to be solid, and if you can give them skirmish and just use them as peasant archers for Bretonnians, I am immediately sold, and also these models look incredible.
Yes.
If they're stationary ranked up close order, fine, it's sure, but I'm not I'm not super sold. And if you have to take some spears, or if the loadout that they have is spears and no shields, I'm pretty underwhelmed. That's not something that's
It's interesting as well. Look at the archers. The poses. I mean, the poses and all of them are the same, obviously, because they're at least based on the same. They're actually quite dynamic.
Yeah.
For a unit that seems to be ranking up okay.
Mm-hmm.
As Ian says in the chat, the spears are going to be a nightmare. You have to make sure you've got front spears and rear spears. But at least the archers, they've got a lot of movement to them, even though they're a ranked up unit, which is really exciting.
Yes.
And the thing that I like the most, if you look at the champion in the spear unit, the old guy, I think he's wearing Jade Warrior armor underneath his tunic. I wonder if, and he's got a Jade Warrior shield as well. So I wonder if he's either going to have a different stat line and be like a Jade Warrior that sits in the unit, or he's just like come out of retirement or something and has just been a peasant, but he's got slightly better armor than the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'd say he looks like Jade Warrior armor. He's definitely got some armor on the top half, but the bottom half is similarly unarmored. But the fact that he's got a sword and shield is weird, and that is. Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, are there shields that go on the back of these models? I assume not. I think we'd be able to see it, given the size of the shield here. But, like, what's going on there? That's an odd detail.
And I think they are supposed to just be peasants as well, so I can't imagine they're going to be that well equipped.
No.
And maybe they just have this. I mean, maybe he has like some kind of lead. Obviously, he's a champion, so it would make sense for him to have some kind of leadership ability or something like that. So they've got a little bit more staying power because it feels like they'd be quite vulnerable just to getting hit by a wet flannel and then just fleeing off the board, which isn't great. Whereas actually, if he's in the unit, does he help them some way in making them stick around? Which I think, if you're going to treat them when you compare them to Jade Warriors, they're not going to have the damage output, and not the Jade Warriors have a huge damage output anyway, but they're not going to have the damage output. They're not going to have the sort of staying power in terms of resilience through armor and shields and parry. The only thing they're going to have is that they're cheap. But if they just immediately run away the first time they get charged by anything that's vaguely competent, then you might as well have just not bothered and just spent the points on more Jade Warriors.
Sure.
So they've got to have something that makes them stick around, because that's effectively what makes a skeleton warrior zombie work okay. I mean, obviously you can bring them back, but you can take big units of peasants. But it's the fact that they don't run away and they just become a big stodgy mess that actually makes them good at what they do. So if these guys just flee, then it's not necessarily going to be that useful to the Cathay player to add into an infantry-based army.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I don't know that I'm a fan of the hats. That might be a controversial opinion. I think the straw hats probably not. But from me going back to my Cathay army, which I'm basing off the Yellow Turban Rebellion, it was effectively a peasant rebellion. So I feel like I have to have these in my army somehow, and make them work in some way possible, potentially.
Well, maybe you just don't have these, and you definitely have these. Maybe that's the thing that you go for. What I will say as well is interesting, and I've talked about how left arm doesn't talk to right arm, so whether or not these are actual words that are relevant to the rules. But long spears and war bows. Now, look at the size of these bows. Like, if that is not a longbow, I'll be disappointed. Although I guess it makes sense in terms of, I believe, and I'm not in any way a historian, but I believe the ability to shoot longbows over vast distances was something that was pretty profoundly European, and like specifically English, having very, very long ranged firepower with bows. So maybe having just a 24-inch bow is more historically accurate for this. Definitely not, built around a real country army.
Well, I mean, I think this is me getting very loose on history, but I'm pretty sure they sort of worked out in the East anyway, worked out crossbows quite quickly, and then moved on to gunpowder weapons, which obviously longbows start to have their usefulness run out when you're getting shot at by a gun over time. So
aren't longbows, and again, this is my loose interpretation of history, I think longbows, like professional longbow archers who could fire at a much longer effective range, were actually more useful. But the skill, or not the skill, the use of a handgun is it takes significantly less time to train. So you could, get an army together of handgunners who were very effective after a short amount of training. Whereas if you wanted to be a good English longbower, you had to train for, 10, 12 years or something like that. Ridiculous.
Exactly, yeah. And it's interesting, the English longbows, when they found like old skeletons and things like that, they're right arm,
Yeah.
the actual bone structure and bone density is significantly different to left arm or someone that doesn't have bows. So clearly there's a level of training and a level of like biological adjustment that goes into an English longbowman that isn't present in the general population. So that would suggest you need a lot of training.
It's actually all a psyop. It's a cover up, and it was because at the same time as the longbow was invented, which is fake news, it was when the first nudie mags were created, and that's why the muscular skeleton.
I wondered where you were going with that, and nope, it's just a wank joke. Brilliant.
Actually, I thought it was a great joke. Also, we've got this Defenders of the Great Bastion Army reinforcement set. So this is the classic. This is the only way that you'll be able to get the models to start off with. You know, we've got this nice shot here. Why are you so zoomed in? You're open to new. Yes, we've got this here. We've got some various bits and pieces in there. It's going to be 30 peasants, 8 of the crane gunners, 12 of the iron hail gunners, and then 1 set of the wizards. So you better hope that the crane guns aren't something that you want, 20 of in a list. Otherwise, you're going to be buying a £110 box 3 times to get those models. But they have been.
My current approach to Cathay is to just buy one of everything except for the balloons because I don't like the balloon models.
Yeah.
So I think I'll pick up this box, and by the time I've got all that finished and all the first set finished, it will be 2050 and I'll be retired. So I won't need to worry about how many crane guns I actually want. Be all good.
Excellent. Well, good. It's a healthy approach. Not relevant for anyone who wants to take them to tournaments, but I'm pleased for you.
No.
Thanks for weighing in there.
Glad I can contribute.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be back in 2 weeks.
We've got the Breaching of the Great Bastion Arcane Journal, which some lines of text in there that definitely drove a few people nuts. The first being a new Grand Army list that replaces the original. I think this makes sense because instead of just being like, oh, also you can take peasants, just reprint the new list. However, it's a little frustrating just to play Cathay at all. Even if you don't use the new units, you do need a third book, as always. Just, rules are available on the internet for free, so maybe don't bother buying paperbacks unless you really want to read it all in person. Then it goes, oh yeah, we've got rules for Celestial Forged Armor, Master of the Elemental Winds, and the Will of the Dragons. Rules that were just printed in the first book. Good. Great. Narratives.
It's identical to the first book, except you can't have unit profiles. You have to go to your first book for unit profiles and your third book for your army list, and your second book if you want something else.
It comes with a new Army of Infamy. And I don't know that there's going to be any more magic items, which is probably for the best because they've already had a second set of magic items. So not getting a third set is probably fine.
I think they get some like peasant-related ones.
Sure. Scythe of, I don't know, whatever.
The wheat scythe of doom.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. Those are the new models. Any closing thoughts before we go to the podcast questions?
I have seen a couple of people suggesting Games Workshop are going to redo the balloon rules and things like that. I'm pretty sure from reading this that literally the text says you'll still need Arcane Journal Grand Cathay for the existing unit profiles. I don't think that says to me they're going to use this new Arcane Journal to rebalance or rewrite the balloon rules.
Yeah,
but I have seen that going around quite a lot, and I don't know where that's come from.
This is not guaranteed. This is not. I have been told this is a thing that's happening that people have seen in print, but I've heard multiple people all tell me there are going to be some sort of nerfs coming to balloons in July, at the start of the year. So there's going to be some sort of rebalancing FAQ, maybe not a huge one, but something to bring balloons in line. And I think maybe that is going to be, maybe it comes out in January. God damn. The first month of 2026.
July being the start of the year is an interesting. Maybe it's the Chinese New Year.
It's been a long day. So, first month, I'm expecting to see Cathay rebalance and Cathay models, but if they come out in February, we might not see the FAQ until then. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out with the new models. They seem to go hand in hand pretty well together there. But the other thing that people have said is, January? Yeah, I am broken. It's been a long day. I need to be reset. Apparently. God, where was I going with this? I don't fucking know, man.
Don't know. There may be some changes to the balloons in January time. Don't know whether that will coincide with the release of these models. By the sounds of it, they're not going to be out for Christmas, so my Christmas list is not going to include any Cathay models, which is very disappointing.
You could ask for unfortunately, most third-party suppliers don't do vouchers, I think. Because I was going to say you could ask for vouchers so you could get it, when it comes out.
Game on vouchers.
There we go. Yeah. That might have to be what goes on your Christmas list, or whichever third-party supplier that you support. You go out there. There's a link in the chat for on the description for Element Games, which is obviously I've got an affiliate link to. But just don't spend full money on Warhammer. It's expensive enough as it is.
Yes, don't do it.
The main thing. Have I discussed Chris's FN3 GT Cathay list? I have not. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at the list. Was that last weekend or is it this weekend coming? I haven't really paid attention to when that's going to be. Maybe I'll have a look, but no, I haven't seen them. Let's go on
I'm assuming that means he's doing something interesting.
Who can say? I'll have to check it out, I guess. I've kind of moved past the point of discussing individual lists for events or like doing list review for events that I'm not going to. It just there's a lot of events and it doesn't seem like a super interesting thing that the people who are going and a small handful of other people are interested in those, but I don't typically find much use in doing list review for events, especially if I'm not going to be there. All right. Podcast questions. We're going to shoot through these because most of them are stupid. Said with love. And I do like the stupid questions. Ed, did something happen to you in childhood that makes you feel safer in small, cramped rooms, or is it just an instinct? It's not childhood, actually. It's something that happened in my early to mid-20s, which is being poor and working with the space I have available to me. Not very Scottish of you to shame me for my financial standing in life, Callum. I'm very disappointed. Amy says, do you think we should as a community focus more on narrative and less on competitive for the old world, given the inherent imbalance compared to other game systems? Everyone can do what they want, and this is not like aimed at you at all, but we do occasionally see people who think that people shouldn't play the game competitively and that they should just play it narratively. I don't come to your house and shit on your floor. Like, you do the narrative event, that's amazing, and I hope it goes well, and I hope you have a great time, and I'm going to continue doing my competitive stuff. So is there a place to combine them? Absolutely. I think that's fun. I'm thinking about maybe doing some sort of, someone was talking to me the other day about doing like a Mighty Empire style campaign. I was like, that does actually sound kind of cool. And I'd never bothered with 40k. So like, there probably is more space in my mind for a little bit more narrative leaning in this event, but it just, when people tell you that you should or shouldn't do things in certain ways, that gets on my nerves. Talking to you, Facebook, that's pretty specifically where that attitude tends to come in.
You're not wrong. I think go crack on, do what you want. As an event organizer, I have tried to run narrative events in the past. And unfortunately, the economics of narrative events have been, and this is 40k, which has got a much bigger pool of people, is such that people say they like narrative events and they like the idea of it, but actually when you go and run one, people just don't turn up, they don't buy tickets, they don't appear to be wanting to go to an event that is specifically marketed as narrative. The best I've been able to achieve to get people to come to the Saffron is say that we still use competitive rules, it's still a competitive event, but we are aiming it really in a position where hopefully new players can feel welcome, hopefully people can make mistakes and feel a part of a community but still have relatively balanced games. So I think, there's a world in Old World where that maybe is different. There are more narrative players out there who'd be willing to go to a narrative event, but I tend to have seen the narrative stuff happen within existing groups rather than people traveling to a location for a narrative event, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Just want to clarify as well, Amy, who posted in chat just a second ago, to be clear, that's not aimed at you. This is a day for people being caught in the crossfire. Apparently I'm getting all my my inbuilt rage out. So like Ian earlier with the Tomb King's question, that was not aimed at you. That was a general vibe and attitude that has been grinding my gears for a little while that I was more leaning towards answering. Okay, what else have we got? Steve, As tournament players are ruining the community in the game with their min-max armies and angle shooting with rules, how much do you blame yourself for this, and what will you do to make it right for everyone? See previous point. I will continue to play the game and have a good time. It's funny, actually. I was talking to someone who hasn't been to a tournament but did used to play back in the day, and it was, it was refreshing to be reminded that the attitude back in the day was very exclusionary and shitty, and I think as a community we generally have a pretty good attitude with tournament play and just being friendly and welcoming and not being dickheads as a whole. So I think we do that pretty well usually.
I think we're in a position as a community where we're still growing and it's still moving to new places, exciting, and I think regardless of what type of event you prefer, what type of event you're running, or how you like to play the game, I think it's behoving on all of us to try and make sure as best we can that newer players or new members of the community or less confident members of the community feel comfortable attending an event or joining your club or turning up to see one of your games or however you want to do it. But I think anything that we can do, especially in, say, the privileged position that you're in, Ed, with the following that you've got, and for me as a TO, and to be part of a wider network of TOs, that actually our entire focus should be on growing the community and making sure that we've got a lot of people coming in and creating a buzz and getting involved and feeling comfortable coming to events and being part of something bigger than themselves.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Just Matthew said, I think the don't piss in your chips thing is undermined by stuff like square base comp, which warps the game around the top tables. In your opinion, it doesn't. Just don't play it. Again, if it's something that you don't like engaging with, just don't engage with it, and that's absolutely fine. Not everything has to be for everyone. Then we're going to ignore some questions about second place because it's just losing the fucking will to live. So Steck says, "Do I mind my likeness being used as a zombie?" Yeah, no, absolutely. Please do. That'd be amazing. Love to see that. Do you want the question about the river, or should I skip that one as well?
No, there's a lot of river questions. So if you skip them, we're going to be right at the end. So I'm happy to take river questions.
I was going to say, great. We'll just skip the river questions then. But Vespa says to Lewis, did you know that the Tagus River is one of the few rivers in the world of its kind? It has an inverted delta. Is that interesting? I don't know enough about rivers to have an opinion on that.
It's interesting because I think it's one of two. I believe there's a river system in California that does that as well. In real nerdy terms, really simple nerdy terms, it's when the delta is wider at the top and then gets narrower as you get close to the sea. It's interesting. Rivers are wild, mate. There's lots of weird stuff. There's like a river in Colombia that is different colours, different times of the year. It's like green and then pink and then red and then orange and green. It's very exciting.
It's pretty cool, actually. Sweet. Steck says, if the schism rumours are true, a lot of things dropping for Age of Sigmar were supposed to be shared for Old World, which would fit with Cathay getting a book about Chaos from the North, normally Chaos Dwarves. Age of Sigmar is getting Pestigore that looked like they could have been a dual kit. Do you think we could see some god-specific beastmen coming sometime soonish? That'd be cool. I love the old Pestigore, Korngor, Slangor, Zangor sculpts. I don't know, were there ever actually Zangor sculpts? I know there were Pestigore. I'm pretty sure I've seen Korngor, although they may have been a conversion. I'm pretty sure I've seen Slangor, but I can't pull to mind Zangor outside of 40k. Maybe it was a dual kit.
I think it was a dual kit. I think they've got swords and shield as an option.
I don't think they got swords and shields, but I think they might have double hand weapons instead of the. Yes, they've got double hand weapons instead of the bolt gun and chainsword.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Nick's in chat just saying, massive shout out to Lewis and Saffron Walden Events. Help me, who has an issue with playing 5 games in one weekend due to my epilepsy. Arrange for cover players and let me just have fun. Good to have you. Always a pleasure, Nick, and thank you for coming on stream.
You're a star.
Yeah. What are Lewis's top 5 favorite river facts? Do you want to give me one? Have you got one that you think is a fun one too?
Okay. There's a story. I don't know if it's true, but the Lee, which is one of my rivers, there was observed by some kayakers where a Canada goose, so like a big bird, was flying near the Lee, and it got dragged under by a fish and eaten. I think it was a big pike, but for a Canada goose, which is a beast of a bird, to be eaten by a fish in the Lee, I don't know what they're fishing there or eating, but it's pretty good. So that's a river fact. That's definitely not a fact. If we're doing one.
I feel like our American viewers will be like, yeah, of course there's fish big enough to eat birds. I feel like that's just a thing that seems American, especially like Florida. I don't know that we're not counting crocodiles or gators. But I think, yeah, just something to point out is you don't expect to see big fish in a river in England. You don't expect to see any fish in a river because they are usually grotty.
Oh yeah, we've got some rivers that are improving it. Don't worry, it's all going to be fine.
Yeah. You're doing your best. I know.
But if you want an actual river fact, then Renegade Clown Enjoyer, you should look up. There's a waterfall in Laos, however you pronounce it, in Asia, Southeast Asia, where the waterfall is 10 kilometers wide, which is just insane. It's a waterfall where you can't even see the other end of the waterfall. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
So go and check that river out. That's a cool one.
Cool. I'm gonna skip the next one. Do you know anything about Old World rivers?
No, you've got the River Reich, and then you've got the river that goes through Stirland. Well, I think it's literally called. Is it literally called the Stir or something? Which Old World river do you think would make a top? That would make the best tourist spot. No one wants to go to Reichland. You want to go to the Stir because it's the only river where you'll get
stirred,
good kayaking, but also access to some of that von Carstein hospitality. So
great. Definitely not going there. Where am I going? I know none of the rivers other than the ones that you've just named. So, yeah. Cool. Goldfire with a real question says, what do you think is more powerful for an all-comers army, no balloons Cathay or Chaos Dwarves, Grand Melee plus combined arms and 2,000 points? Have you got a thought on this?
What do you think is most powerful for an all-comers army? Oh, no balloon Cathay. Sorry, I was like, well, just take Cathay and put loads of balloons in if you want to be powerful. Obviously. Well, I mean, I think probably Cathay because you'd put in loads of the Shugungans, who are really cool, and then you just put loads of rings of jet in all of your units.
Yeah, that's probably true.
With a big unit of Jade Warriors, I think that's better than the Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If you had to create a new legacy faction, entirely based on the members of the VIP lobby, what would be the army special rule and who would be a named character? Jesus.
Well, one of the abilities, first ability, would be called Incomprehensible Babble. And it would be like something about massively confusing your opponent. And all of their units would like face the wrong way or something.
Yeah.
Because talking shit at you for hours on end.
Yeah, so Wailing Dirge, we're just going to reskin Undead, because you're all a bunch of zombies and you scream at me and cause me emotional damage that ignores my armor and ward save. Tommy says, make me a Doomseeker. I'm a Sicilian Catholic from Brooklyn. I'm waiting for the end. Someone do a wellness check on Tommy. I hope you're okay, bud. That's
okay, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what oath you've broken to become a Doomseeker, but I'm sure we can get around it.
Yeah. And then Steve says, as Games Workshop have announced they're willing to rewrite rules for Cathay and replace existing units from Marauders, what do you hope for in all new Close Order and Elmer miniatures when Games Workshop inevitably replaced with sexier models? That's a good one. I don't know. Less tech issues would probably be my go-to.
I think you're getting replaced by Henry Cavill. Sorry, goodbye.
Sure, great. What an honor. Like, even I can't be annoyed at that. I'm like, well, I'll tune in. Like, I'll find out what he's going to say. Yeah, he's a busy man.
I'm irreplaceable, so it'll just be me and Henry now, and I will make millions.
That's good. That's good. It's normally my unchecked ego that answers the questions, but it's good to see that your unchecked ego is taking a turn as well.